Hi. Now, I'll just pause the camera a moment. Just out through this window you can see the conditions. Now I just pointed the camera out the window here on Sunday morning the 16th of February 2020 and to show you conditions in Ireland when the weather is bad, and the weather is very bad at the minute. And if it's the intention of government and the people who vote for the government to leave us living in this country without heat throughout the winter, then that is a radical change. That's something that hasn't happened for over 4,000 or 5,000 years since people started building dwellings of various types. And any youngster planning living in Ireland should take into account whether that is on the agenda. If it's the case that you won't be allowed to heat your home reasonably, particularly in the evening time and in the early morning, then you really should consider whether you stay in this country or not. To my notion, I still have enough heat, and in this particular house at the moment I wear my cap because the heat is not turned on, let's say, between 10 AM and maybe 4 PM because people are out. I'm just in making this quick video, and so it's cold here and I wear my cap, but there's still heat and you can still buy fuel and oil or gas or whatever to heat your home. But it appears to me that we're not going to be allowed continue that, and therefore the hardship involved in living in Ireland, irrespective of what the other benefits are, outweigh that of emigrating to a warmer climate like somewhere else, wherever that may be. Now, the name of this video is on wind at 17A, and I've put the A1 because I've run out of letters from A to Z. I didn't use some of the final letters of the alphabet, and I skipped a few that are confusing when you write them down. So I'm now 1A, so it'll be 17A1, 17A2, 17A3, not 1A, A1, okay? That's because our wind is a very important part of this channel. Okay, now I said in my earlier video, what was the number? Oh, 12, so 12 something, this 12N, about a plan being hatched by government to prevent farmers giving a site to their son or daughter. And social media left-wing have come on and attacked that, and what they're saying is there's no barrier. Well, of course, it's built into what I say that if a farmer gives less than 25 acres to a son or daughter, they won't get planning permission. There is already a local needs provision where you have to prove a local need. But even with a local need, they won't allow you build a site saying you're going to be running the farm. So this is what I'm getting at. This has been coming true. It's not adequately reported because of fake news, and if it were adequately reported, it might be a feature in the election. And I maintain that we have making a serious error in Ireland in that if there's a local problem, it's glossed over. The politicians have it arranged so that they spread out problems. So it might be pylons this decade, it might be wind farms the next decade it might be getting planning permission to live in the country. Whatever it is, they spread it out so that no one group manages to impact an election. And we got to fight that, and that's a central tenet to my YouTube channel, that we fight that if there is a problem with pylons, we make it an issue. And Damien English almost lost his seat in Meath, and he used to be a high flyer. Now I know there was a move against Fine Gael, but he almost lost his seat, and there's big uproar against him there. There were posters up calling out Fine Gael for what they actually are. So that's good, and that's the way it's going. It's evolving, and hopefully they'll not be able to put up a bird's nest or an aerial or anything, but the local people will have a say. Because if you use the reverse situation, when the government is trying to foist its wind farms on the people. It says they must give a community gain. They must give something to the local school, the local football club, or whatever. They must give something back. And that's to try and neutralise the objections locally. So if the people who are taking away our environment are obliged to give us something back, then we should have a say in making that policy. I pointed out that Article 3.2 of the SVA directive is bypassed by the government. I explained that how they do it. They simply do not enact it into the Planning and Development Act. And until it's enacted into by a section of the Planning and Development Act, it doesn't really exist in Irish law. So I hope I've explained that. So what I say is the people, well informed, should impact the election. So with that in mind, I'll pause now and go on to a point I'm making here in this video, and I might have to make 2 videos to do it. Just for now, I'll just pause for the second. So this is an article in the Irish Independent last week, be roughly about the 15th, maybe the 13th of February, around that. Anyway, and it's the Business Week part of the Irish Independent, and it says 3 Irish wind farms projects, part owned by GE, put up for sale. Now, I like to quote a newspaper article because it does add a certain bit of credibility. But there are those, particularly on the left of the arguments we do have, who believe if it's not somewhere online, if it's not in the newspaper, it doesn't exist. I'm telling you straight that negative interest rates have come in here into ordinary businesses. That has not flagged adequately. The other thing I'm telling you is that this plan to limit the acreage above a certain amount that a landowner can give to a person to build a house is also there. It's there. It's not a doubt about it's there. I know it's there. If people don't believe me, that's their problem. By right, it should be well flagged. So here it is in the paper. But where the paper does report, all the better. We might as well use it while they're still in existence. Now, what the article says is, and I'm going to read it to you fairly good, and have a few prompts here as well. Now, the first thing is to bear in mind that there's 65 billion put aside by the European Union to build wind farms. 65 billion. But we cannot get or trace how that money filters down. I haven't managed to guess how that, or figure out how that triggers down. Okay, so it's just something you need to know. Now again, there are sources for that. I'm not going to waste time proving it. The lefties will say you don't prove your case. Well, it's there. It's well known. Now, what the article says is that a 103 megawatt portfolio of 3 wind farm projects are being put up for sale by a consortium of owners, including Cavan-based Gaeltech Energy Developments. Okay, they're up in about Stradone there, near Coutill. Okay, move back a bit here. Right, the developments. Now, the consortium's other members include GE Energy, Belgium renewables firm Storm Management, KPMG, is advising them on the sales process, according to the industry publication Spark Spread, which first reported the planned divestiture. Now, they don't call it we're trying to sell the wind farm. They don't say that we're trying to get rid of it while the going's good. They say it's a divestiture. Excuse me. It's a divestiture. Oh, lovely flowery language. Now, so one of the things then is that what ones are the selling? Now, so here's the article here again. Gaeltech, not Gaelectric, Gaeltech. Gaelectric has gone bust. GE Energy is an Irish-based company, and the Belgian-based Storm Management is advised by KPMG. They're a business accounting firm, an auditing firm, and it's been reported by Spark Spread. And so they're selling the 23 megawatt Tahard wind farm, okay, and they're selling the 24 megawatt Clohan wind farm. Now, The consortium is selling 23 megawatt Tahard wind farm and 24 megawatt in County Offaly, Cloughan wind farm, and the 46.2 megawatt scheme in Pinewood, County Laois. It's funny how the same word Pinewood comes up. Pinewood was the location of the British studios that used to film the Carry On movies, Carry On Doctor and Carry On Professor, and all these comedy films. And also it was where a number of comedy films by John Cleese were filmed, and it's also where the Monty Python series was involved there and was filmed. So I'm glad to see that Pinewood, it could be an omen that the same comedy of errors is going to happen. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So here we see these wind farms are up for sale, right? The Tahard and Cloughan projects already have grid connection agreements with Pinewood has applied for connections. Now, a big play is made of these grid connections. The fact of the matter is, with the Irish government being obsessed with wind energy, getting a grid connection is no big deal. But there are logistics involved. I mean, there has to be a power station nearby. Excuse me. And in Cool Wind Farm in County Westmeath, which is granted planning permission and under appeal, they plan bringing the cables 29 kilometres underground. 29 kilometres. Figure out that. So this is the stuff that's going on. Now, so Sparkspread noted that the special purpose vehicle. So this special purpose vehicle is run. It's in mainstream renewable energy. It has to be some kind of a way of channeling this EU money in. But as my friend John Dooley, who's the only one that will come on my channel and actually allow himself to be identified, he makes the point, no matter where this money comes from, whether it's EU printed money or what it is, it still has to be paid back. It still has to be paid back, and if it can't be paid back, then profits are not going to flow. There's going to be no profit flowing from something which can't pay back its cost, no matter where the money comes from. Essentially, printed euros are a robbery on us. They're robbing us. But that doesn't mean that the person who gets those printed euros doesn't have to make a profit. I hope I kind of understand that. Now, spreadsheet noted that the special purpose vehicle of Gaeltech, Storm Management and GE owns 80% stake in Tahard, with the local McBreen family owning the remainder. I know the McBreen family very well, so they own the remainder. Now, understand, please, that the Tahard wind farm is not developed. It's granted planning, it's ready to go, but it's not developed. And they were going round a month ago looking for farmers to allow them put the cables over ground. I hope nobody gives it to them. If they do, they're traitors to their neighbours. But they're trying that, and some fella, greedy man, will do it for money, or he mightn't live there and he just has a bit of ground or something. So there's that's going on. So the plan to put it underground, it may have been thwarted because I alerted farmers to the fact that they must have permission to go up the road. If you own the land each side of the road, they cannot go through. So I don't know what's happening there, but they have a problem there. Okay, the scheme is likely to cost around 30 million for the development. Now, this is for a 23 megawatt wind farm, but the point is the Ra wind farm beside me, Ra wind farm, cost 30 million as well, according to I'll go through them in a minute. According to Cantor Fitzgerald, it cost 30 million. It was originally flagged at 25 million, and there certainly have been enough work there to gobble up 30 million with turbines and all. So why is the scheme likely to cost around 30 million only when it costs the same to build one half its size in Ra? I'd like that explained. So if you're an investor, just look about that. Ask them for that. Gaeltech owns 50% of the Cloughan and Pinewood projects. That's the Offaly and Laois, with Storm GE owning 40% and 10% respectively. Gaeltech owns 50% with Cloughan, with Storm owns 40% with Storm, and GE owns 10%. Okay, respectively. Now, each of each scheme. All three wind farm projects are hoping to secure €15 subsidies under the Renewable Energy Support Scheme. They're going to get it. I mean, in the present environment, you get all this stuff. The problem is it's not enough. Now, I claim the Renewable Energy gives support scheme, which used to be refit, it gives 76 cents on average when you count everything per megawatt hour. Cantor Fitzgerald says it's 80. John Dooley says I'm a wee bit low. It could be a wee bit higher, but I've gone through the accounts of over 25 wind farms, and I think that's what I came up with. And some of them actually stated. I'm a great believer not in making my own opinion, sharing it, get John's opinion, get any opinion, any reference. Unless any reference is useful, you should never ignore any reference, even as the industry itself. Okay. Now, so they're hoping to get that, and they will get that. No, but it's not enough. The refit also mandates that projects looking for support under the scheme must offer local communities an opportunity to invest and take ownership in a portion of renewable energy projects in their area. I'm going to go through this again with me prompts. But remember, up until recently, the government was trying to force wind farm companies to give community projects money. So Element Power was given MEGA over a period of 5 years 375 million euros. Money you'd never think about. Now, why is that not continuing? Now the emphasis has changed from the wind farm giving the community money to the community giving the wind farm money. Why? Because they're bankrupt, they're insolvent. Right? That's what I say. So now, community, an opportunity to invest in and take ownership of a portion of the renewable energy projects in their area. So do you see the idea? Get over local opposition and at the same time get money. And as I've said already, a wind farm at the price they're paying, and even if they were to double the price, more or less, gives you enough to pay your expenses. That's all the electricity it uses from the grid. Rates, rents to farmers, all that expenses, telephones, insurance and everything. It gives all that. It gives enough to pay the interest on the capital loan. If you want to build a wind farm and do it right, you need loans. You don't want to be looking for shareholders in the middle of July when all the machinery is ready to go. You need a loan. So they can pay off, in all the accounts, they can pay off the interest on the loan. And I'd say that interest is tailored by the lenders not to break these companies. So you have enough for that. The problem is, when you have that done, you only have a tiny portion to pay off the principal. And it takes 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 times the lifespan of the wind farm to pay off the principal. You understand? In some cases it takes 400 years. In the case of Arad, takes 92 years, and the wind farm only lasts 22 years. And in the case of Tahard, it's the very same. So Tahard will not be paid. A child born today will have lived a full long life and have passed away by the time Tahard wind farm is paid. That's the fact of the matter. Anyone disputes that, I'm here, all ears, ready to go. No problem debating that. Okay. Now, an opportunity to invest and take ownership of a portion of the renewable energy projects in this area. So that's very important. The tide has turned. They want us to pay them. They want the victims to bail them out, essentially. Now, there's continued strong interest in Ireland's renewable energy sector after the government last year committed to raising an amount of electricity from up to 70% by 2030. And I've explained before how that is not possible. If you were to have 70% on very calm conditions, you'd need millions of wind farms. And on real calm days, you have no wind. So you can't do that. The problem then is when you have a day like today now, there's a good bit of a blast, and we have the tail end of the storm Dennis, given a name so the children see a name attached to the storm. Eventually, if you're called Dennis, there's a storm called after you, and of course you buy into this climate malarkey much more easily. So it's all a clever marketing ploy. But the point about it is you can't get it up to 70. If you were to have it up to 70 in calm conditions, you'd need 40 to 50 times the amount of capacity of wind to give you enough in very low wind conditions, and you cannot put in more than 65% wind energy into the system. So I've done well up to now, and I hope if my battery cuts out suddenly, you understand. I'm going to post this video whether it does or not, because I have a charge, but sometimes these batteries can be freaking. Now, so on Tuesday, the utility giant Electricité de France announced that it has acquired a 50% stake in the Irish offshore wind farm project for the company, whose shareholder includes developer Johnny Ronan and his former construction business partner Richard Barrett. So these guys think they're going to make money for wind. Did they ever ask the two people in Slaney Meats? I can't think of their name offhand. They lost 52 million on Gay Electric, right? Why don't they go to John Lang PLC? They have said that they cannot make money from the Tipperary wind farm. And why don't they buy it? Why is it always new ones? Why is the construction rolling on? This has the elements of the Celtic Tiger Ponzi scheme. Get it built, get in, get out. Put in your money and get out. And I'd say at the minute mainstream is in a terrible problem. I cannot understand why a rah-rah wind farm beside me in Kingsford is not sold on to some idiot. Okay, so that's all right. So Johnny Ruffin. Now that Richard Barrett has nothing to do with Richard Boyd Barrett, the Trotskyite, different person altogether, the politician. Now, it has been previously estimated that the entire Codling Bank project, which will eventually see hundreds of wind turbines erected 13 miles off the Wicklow coast, will have a worth of 100 million euros. This is an offshore wind farm off the Wicklow coast that's been planned. So it'll have a worth of 100 million euros. The site is set to generate 1.1 gigawatts. That's over 1,000 megawatts. Over 1,000 megawatts. Watts of electricity when it's eventually operational. It is likely to cost 2 billion to develop. So here it is. I don't know, can you see it here in this article? Here we have, you probably can't in all fairness, maybe you'd manage it somehow, but you can take the word for this there anyway. You might get this online. Now, so this is going to cost 2 billion to develop, and when it's done it's going to be worth 100 million. 1/20th of the cost. This is why I really get, what is going on? This is the most ridiculous industry, and there has to be a source of funding into it. It's unbelievable. It didn't do Fine Gael any good because they didn't do well in the election, and all of it that they did. But Dennis Naughton, who pushed it, got elected in Roscommon, funny enough. So as we see there now, so last November Greencoat Renewables paid more than 37 million for a 20 megawatt wind farm in Killala, County Mayo, and in the same month they paid 10.5 million for a 14 megawatt wind farm in Donegal at Beam Hill. Those acquisitions brought Greencoat portfolio to an operational wind assets to 461 megawatts. So you can see how they're exposed. In January, National Toll Roads bought a 19.2 megawatt wind farm in County Wicklow. Earlier this month, Dublin-based AM Power signed a deal from a New Zealand Morrison and Company, an alternative asset manager, to spend as much as 160 million developing 7 wind farms in southwest of Ireland. So why is New Zealand company investing in Ireland? Wouldn't you think there'd be wind farms in New Zealand to invest in? So very strange things going on. So as I have it there, National Toll Roads are spending money, having got nothing out of Tier Worker wind farms. We see this New Zealand company there. I wouldn't worry about too much. I've made the point on these here, and I'm hurrying up because I'm getting a bit low about them selling these. I don't know, maybe someone might want to stop it. I apologise for this rush thing because it's hard to get in. And then we see Greencoat Renewables, what they paid there for that. And we see this Codling Bank at 100 million. This is the point I'm making, and it's going to cost 2 billion to develop, and it's going to be worth 100 million according to that article. Maybe they made mistakes. My recommendation, though, if you have voted Sinn Féin in the recent election, have a word with your TD now. Go in and have a bit of a word. Try and get a bit of traction going, because even if Sinn Féin don't get forming a government, they could be put on some committees, all committees, and they might be able to poke this on another bit and rattle it some way. I don't know, will they? But there's no harm to give it a try. You needn't be going to Fianna Fáil, you needn't be going to Fine Gael, not a hope, or any of the left-wing parties. But if you have right-wing TDs and they're prepared to study this, I mean, this is unbelievable stuff. So you can see here now what's happening. You build your wind farm, you try and you try and sell it and make a profit. And now they want to sell it before you go building it. So whoever buys this is going to have to pay for all the concrete, all the cement, and that'll suit the local concrete suppliers like Riley Brothers in Tahart, and it'll suit the gravel. I mean, millions of tons of gravel goes into it, so it gives the economy a boost. And is it a false boost? I mean, they say the economy is running at full capacity, the bank said recently. What happens if we run out of this money coming in, building this stuff? It's the building boom, it's a Ponzi scheme all over again, and the main point is, and I'll have to try and alert people of this. Local people must not fall for this. There was an open day down in Templederry in Tipperary recently, and there's a wind farm there, and it's built about 4 years, and they got one payment of 4,000 over that period since the whole thing started. So this Templederry wind farm is probably on the go and being talked about from about 2012, and they've only got 4,000 the landowners out of it so far. And my old friend Molly McCracken, I don't know, do you remember? I had a video on her. She went down. She happened to be there, and she went in, and she found that the Enercon E92 wind turbine 2.3 capacity was only giving 1.3 megawatts output in a 22-mile-an-hour wind, 36 meters per second. So it's not a lot in good wind conditions. And they were whinging about the rates costing them 70. Sorry, I'm away. Bye.